This episode is brought to you by Carbon Health, and you guys know Carbon Health. I talk about them all the time. So excited that they're one of our sponsors. Now, they're known for their over 120 locations that handle urgent care and COVID, RSV, flu testing, vaccinations, all that. But we should also know is how they expanded into primary care services that also include connected health. Connected health is the idea it's not just about our bodies, but it's also about our mind. Carbon Health providers come connected with mental health specialists as well. They expanded their primary care services in 2023. They're now in Massachusetts. It's great. We love them. We're excited to be working with them, continue to work with them. So Carbon Health, excellent urgent care and testing center, but don't sleep on their primary care services. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Happy Thursday. Sorry for a little bit of the later show here, but we got you a show nonetheless. And as you saw in the topics, critics and fans, they are split over Super Mario Brothers, and it looks like it is set to be one of the biggest movies for Illumination so far. It's gonna be doing pretty good. Roxy and I liked it. We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna say why were the critics and the fans so split on this one. Marvel's Wonder Man series started shooting. I watched all of Shrinking. Talk about that with Roxy. Roxy has some picks. There's some news with the Skeleton Crew, new directors. And speaking of Star Wars Celebration starts tomorrow. What can we see? What do we think we're going to see? The It prequel has its cast, and that and some more on today's episode of The Big Thing with myself and Roxy. Brett is off this week, but he'll be back. But you know where you're going to see Brett? You're going to see Brett. You're going to see Coy. You're going to see Roxy, Kate, Winston, Steph, Mike, and myself. If you are in the Los Angeles area, get your tickets for Friday, April 28th, Burbank, Flappers. Get your tickets. You can get the tickets at thekristianharloff.com. Don't go to the Flappers site. You go to the Flappers site, it says it's sold out. Not the case. Go to thekristianharloff.com, get your tickets. And for East Coast people who've been asking, we're going to be there on June 23rd. June 23rd, we will be in New York, Manhattan, myself, Brett, Kate, Winston, Coy. We're going to be there. And then in Connecticut the next night, June 24th, myself, Ellis, the guys from Double Toasted will be there, but we hope that you guys will come out and support the show. Both of them. Look, these are the only three that we have set right now. I'll be honest, I was hoping that we would be knocking out those tickets faster because people kept telling me when you're going live, when you're going to go live. Got to sell these things out, or these will be the last three that we do, and I understand. But we'll probably just turn it into the after party show, where we'll just do kind of live streams from the studio until we build it up and you guys want to see it more. But if you're able to come out to the shows, please come out, check it out. Once again, that is April 28th, June 23rd, and June 24th. All right, it's myself. It is Roxy Stryer. It's The Big Thing. Let's do it. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to The Big Thing. Oh, last couple of weeks have been tough. Sicknesses and nonsense. But crew held it down. And last Thursday, she did it. She was able to survive the storm that is Brett Sheridan. Roxy Stryer. How are you?
Not this week. I wasn't able to do it, but last week you were down for the count. I was down for the count.
It was brutal, but we're still here, Rox. We're still here.
Kristian asked me how much this remote is.
Oh no. Did you? So Roxy, before, can you want to tell people what you did before we guess how much the remote is?
Do I want to tell people what I did?
You kind of have to, though.
Am I going to?
You kind of have to.
So I had like a horrific bout of food poisoning yesterday. That was as sexy as one would picture it being. It was the worst I've ever had in my life.
Like Linda Blair style?
I didn't know that much could be inside my little body. Oof. Like I couldn't even believe it. It was insane. I missed my first rehearsal for the movie.
Oh no.
Missed it. Like, and you know me. And right. I'm texting.
Hell or high water, you'd get there.
I said if there was any way, like I couldn't leave an inch of the bathroom for at least 12 hours. It was horrible. But anyway, so this morning I'm like feeling back to life in terms of I'm no longer puking. I'm feeling okay. but I'm feeling like a disgusting pig. Like I've sweat through everything. There's like remnants of all of the things. So I was like, I just need to get all these sheets and this comforter in the fucking wash right now. This is disgusting. So I just kind of like scoop all of the things and throw it in the washing machine. And I was like, I'm so proud of myself right now. Like you just get up, Rox, and you get back at it. And then before this show started, I was like, oh, I got to switch everything over to the dryer. So I go put everything in the dryer, and I see at the bottom just my remotes.
All of them.
Just the remotes. Like I had.
How many remotes?
It was 2.
Okay.
One for the TV, one for the Apple TV.
Okay.
Those are my only remotes. I only have 2 remotes.
Right.
So I was like, fuck. So I immediately run downstairs, try to click. Obviously not working. They're sitting in bowls of rice right now. But I was like, really, the most important one to me is the Apple remote because that I can't even put it on a different TV, you know? So just looked. What's your guess for how much the remote to the Apple TV is?
$85.
Ooh, okay. You went high. It's $70.
Still pretty high.
$70. And then to get it delivered is an extra $9. So you're not far off.
Right. Plus taxes. So around 85.
Yep. Around $85. Like an Apple TV is $100 and something.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Do you just get another Apple TV?
No, you can't because then I mean, I guess if you want one from your house, you can use both of them. Use both remotes.
Is that how that works?
You could probably pair them up and sync them up, but I don't know. I don't think it's worth it. But that's brutal. I would try one more time and see if after you soak them in rice if it works, and then he's got to bite the bullet. That sucks. All right, so you got that. The remotes. That's not good. So we first guess there. We did get a chance to see each other though, because we saw each other at the Super Mario Brothers screening. And the first thing I'll say is I saw Air also before we bring up Mario. And that's the best movie of the year so far.
It's the best movie of the year.
Yeah, easily.
The best movie of the year.
Really good. And so I think our mutual friend who didn't like the Super Mario Brothers movie also didn't like Air. So I don't know.
Is that true?
I'm pretty sure.
Based on a tweet or no?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. I could be wrong. But the way that I read it seemed like they didn't like either one.
I know people have said this about me, Kristian, but some people have horrible taste.
I mean, look, I would say it's hard to say I think that it's easier to say horrible taste as compared to the stuff that I like, right? Because there's certain things that maybe that particular critic resonates with a lot of people that do have the same type of taste. So as compared to my taste, I would say I do not agree with that person's take 99.9% of the time. And watching Air, if that is the case, I have to look at that tweet and see if I read it wrong. But Air is just a very special movie. It's Ben Affleck's best in a very long time. It's a feel-good movie, and it's definitely worth watching. I hope it does really well because traditionally, right now, the way that it works with the box office, those aren't the types of movies that pop in the theater. I'm hoping word of mouth really helps this movie out, and it does really well. I can't imagine the budget was too big on this one, but still.
Yeah, I think that the talent would be the biggest portion of the budget, right?
Yeah.
And also think about the fact that they spent $7 million. Yeah, $7 million on the Super Bowl commercial.
Oh wow, it's 70 to 90 million budget.
Pretty big.
Well, that's pretty. I mean, yeah, it's pretty big. It's funny. Like 10 years ago, that's a massive budget.
Yeah, it's pretty big for this type of movie, though.
It is. When you look at the cast, though, you look at everybody. I mean, the cast is what makes this movie so special because everybody just delivers. I thought Viola Davis, Jason Bateman, Chris Tucker, Marlon Wayans. The brief thing he's in it with was great too. Obviously, Ben Affleck, Matt Damon.
This is out now, Kristian.
It's out. I think it's out either tonight or it's out already. I can't remember, but it comes out this weekend for sure if it's not out already. But yeah, it's great. It's a really, really good movie. It's a nice change from the other stuff. And then Super Mario comes out and it's out already. And you and I, and it's already doing pretty well.
Yeah, you want to know why it's doing well, Kristian?
Because it's a fun movie.
It's a really fun, cute movie.
Yeah. So
man.
Yeah, but not just that particular critic. There's a lot of critics who were shitting on this movie. And here's the thing, and you look, and that's why we brought it up in the topics today. The critic score is something like 50. I'll tell you right now, the critic score as of right now is 54%, and the audience score. Do you want to guess what the audience score is?
85.
Higher.
90.
Higher.
95.
96. So the audience score is 96. The critic score is 54%. This is it's made. Oh, okay. So I guess it maybe just came out last night because it's only listed as making $800 right now. But it's on par to do pretty.
No, this is gonna make so much money.
It's gonna make a lot of money, and it's a short movie. It's a sweet movie. I'll tell you the criticisms I'll tell you. One of the critics, as I didn't introduce you to, but she kind of came through real quick. You asked me who she was. Kristi Lemire, who's a friend of mine.
I asked you like 15 people were during that screening. You still know everybody, and I'm like, one person came, rubbed my shoulder. Good to see you, kid. And
Whitney.
I looked at you.
No, Whitney Seibel.
Oh,
that was Whitney Seibel.
No, that was Whitney Seibel.
Yeah, that was Whitney.
No fucking way.
Yeah, he had a mask on.
Yeah, he had a mask on.
Yeah. But it was Whitney. So
that was Whitney.
That was Whitney Seibel.
I really like Whitney.
Yeah, that was Whitney.
That's funny. I was like, I looked at you, and you just didn't say anything else.
Oh well, I was in kind of a daze, but Kristi,
I did not fucking recognize him.
Hilarious. But Kristi Lemire, I saw her tweet.
Wow,
well, not her tweet.
It looked kind of like that. Okay, anyway.
Yeah, I saw her out of the theater reaction, and I've always had a real a big respect for her as a critic in general. Don't always agree with her, and I didn't agree with her on this movie, but I understood her points 100%, and I could see where she was coming. She just basically said that they really ask you to know the franchise in order to really enjoy it, and I agree with that. There's a lot of these kind of like moments from the game that there's like the music that hits, and it's the stuff that I love, like the score I thought by Brian Tyler was amazing. But there's these moments throughout the movie that is like, oh yeah, remember that's from the game, that's from this, that's for the hardcore fan, that's that. And that she's not wrong. She said the story is a bit thin. It was pretty generic, sure. And a lot of her stuff, the point that she made, it's just I just had a smile on my face the whole damn time. The stuff I thought that Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong was the standout. Thought he was great.
So good.
And it was not like a one of these animated movies. You're like, oh, the story was like classic Pixar type thing. It wasn't, but it was just like these. It was just a sweet story about Mario and his brother and trying to, to prove yourself to your parents, and it really is. This one is for kids, for families, and fans of the game. And I thought it delivered on that 100%.
I don't agree with her that you need to be a super fan. I'm not a super fan. I didn't. Those musical.
She didn't say necessarily super fan.
But I'm just saying. I think like you could have never seen. I think you could have no idea who Peach is. You could have no idea. You could have know who none of them are. You could not know what Rainbow Road is. You could not know anything. And I think you would still enjoy this.
Well, I think Roka was the proof in that statement for what you just said, because he wasn't a big game fan or anything too, and he had a really good time with it. I just think though the movie does ask you to, like, there's a lot of stuff that rewards you for knowing the franchise well. Like there's things that happen throughout with, like, it does feel like there's portions of it where you're playing the game, and even when he's bouncing around and certain aspects that I liked, that I thought worked, that I thought it was like this was the thing that I knew was coming right after we heard, this movie come out, and we knew that particular critics weren't going to like it. The same particular critic was like, the 1993 Bob Hoskins Leguizamo movie was better. And I'm like, okay, I that was so predictable, and I knew it was coming, but in no world is that movie even remotely close to, this is a pure adaptation of kind of the things you loved about the game. That movie was, again, respect the opinion, but that movie is a shit piece.
I don't get it. I think that this is going to be so loved. I think that it's thin. I don't really get that either. All those criticisms, like
I get that one. I get that. The story's not necessarily super. Like you look at.
Are we looking for something thick?
Well, but you look at some of the animated movies that are like really look at something like Encanto, right? Something like Encanto or something like Up or
Okay,
the
but they're
movies
not
that
based on IP.
no, they're not, but it doesn't
What
necessarily
IP movies do we feel like are denser?
IP in general or IP animated.
IP animated.
I'm trying to think of what some of the stuff that
Like, I would say this was on target with, Sonic.
well, no, I think Sonic was a little bit more I think Sonic had a better story. I think Sonic had a better
Did
story.
it?
Yeah, I thought so. For 1 and 2, I thought Sonic had a little bit better of a story.
And
But,
the story here with, there's there's love elements,
yeah.
there's,
There is, yeah.
all
It's sweet. It's a sweet movie. I like I said, I had a smile on my face the entire time, and when I left because I had heard the critics spattering, and they're looking at it with critic
I
eyes,
know.
and this is not a movie for critic eyes. It's not. There are certain movies that like Air. Air is you can watch it for with critic eyes, for sure. This is not a critic eyes movie. I know that the people would say, "Well, that's my job. That's what I'm supposed to do." It's like, yeah, but no one's going to take your opinion on this for whether they're going to see the movie or not. It's just they're just not. This is not that kind of movie. This is a movie that if you've always wanted it, people forget that 1993 piece of trash movie came out and it Nintendo said that movie was so bad that we're not licensing Super Mario Brothers to anyone like ever again. And it took them years to want to be able to make a movie again, and they finally did it. And I liked a lot of the references to old school Nintendo. There's you probably I don't know if you picked this up or not, but like when they went into the pizzeria was one of my favorite games of all time is Punch Out, and
No.
it was called Punch Out Pizzeria. And there's pictures of like Little Mac and like the Sandman and other things kind of posted in the back. And I was like, that to me, that's like just little things. Does it enhance the movie? No, but it just gives you that little like, oh, that's cool. It's
You
amazing.
haven't seen D&D yet, right?
No, I'm
Okay,
dying to.
so I feel like that's similar of D&D and why people liked it on both sides of the aisle, and by both sides of the aisle, I mean the diehard super fans of D&D and people who have never played D&D before. People liked it on both sides because it was like this, where you could just enjoy it if you've
Right.
never ever played Mario Bros. Or any
Yeah.
iteration.
Yeah.
Or if you're a diehard D&D fan, like I talked to Trisha Hirschberger after the
Mm.
movie, and she was telling me like there was this one moment where the skill power is blah blah blah, and that's my 100 point for however she's phrasing
Right.
it. I have no fucking idea what she's talking about.
And you didn't
No
need
idea.
to.
But I
Right.
didn't need to know. But for her, like it enhances the movie for sure,
Right.
just the same way that pizza
Right.
thing. I wasn't confused during that aspect. I wasn't like,
Right.
what's this pizza moment?
Right. Right.
Like,
Right. It was just a pizza place for you.
and for you, it's
Right.
that elevated, like, okay, so they
Right.
really got super fans of this that are working on it.
Did
And I
you
think that makes
recognize
complete sense.
Sebastian
Yeah, yeah,
Maniscalco right
yeah.
away?
Immediately.
It
His
was
voice is so
hilarious.
recognizable.
You
I
and your
my favorite was
brother are
Toad.
here for what?
I'm obsessed with Toad. Keegan Michael Key. I thought that
Oh,
was
right.
oh, I
Yeah.
thought that
He
was
was
the
really good.
sweetest. How endearing was Toad?
I'm like I said, I thought, you're clearly gonna get the people who are like, oh, of course they're gonna switch it up, and this time it's not who's getting rescued. I liked how they did it. They didn't emasculate Mario. They didn't
No.
they had a great scene with the two of them had to kind of not scene, but the plot where they had to help each other out and I loved how they kind of made it work and it was a different yet similar relationships to say like Fiona and Shrek and how they've got to work together and Toad kind of serves a little bit like Donkey but in a different similar but different and I liked that I like the adventure that they go on and I like that it's a great bucket of popcorn is the way that I would call this movie. It's just a great bucket of popcorn but
You're
not
gonna show your
surprised.
girls?
I'm gonna take yeah, I mean, Vivian's gonna be really upset with me if I don't get her to the theater to watch Dungeons and Dragons. She really wants to see that one. So I'm gonna take her to see that first. And then I'll probably try to take both the girls to see Super Mario together because I think the little one will like it as well. Oh yeah, and then Jack Black. We're not talking about Jack Black also. We saw a lot of him this week. We saw him in Super Mario, and then he popped up in Mandalorian.
Holy shit, did you know that
What?
about Mando?
That he was gonna be in it?
Yeah,
I had heard rumblings.
I heard nothing. I'm
Nobody
watching
did, yeah.
last night, puke left my body. I'm like, I gotta put on Mandalorian. I put this on. Christian, when I tell you I thought I had a fever dream when I saw Lizzo on my screen, I was like, what? on earth?
I think she's an incredible performer, but I wish it would have been a fever dream.
Oh my God, I so disagree. It was the best thing I ever saw in my life.
Oh, she's so bad. She's
I thought she
really
was
bad
so
actress.
amazing.
She's a really bad actress.
Oh my God, I thought she was so good. I thought they were both so good, and I thought that Christopher was so good too.
Lord.
All of them.
Yeah, we're on a different page for
Oh
that
my
one. But
God,
we'll talk about that.
Kristian, I think this was the best episode of the season.
No, it's not. There's in my opinion. In the first, like the when they actually focus on the story itself, it was great. But like the side adventure cops for it, not great.
So
And I think there's a reason that it's getting so much hate.
So good.
But we'll talk about that because you're going to bring it up on your TV picks. So we'll bring that up. But before we move on to the next topic, really excited to talk to you guys about our new sponsor, Mint Mobile. Let's talk about Mint Mobile. At this point, you know Mint Mobile. Everybody knows Mint Mobile. They've been catching on, and there's a reason why. Because after years of the fine print contracts and everybody gets ripped off by the big wireless providers, if you learned anything at all, it's that there's always a catch. So I've been hearing about Mint Mobile forever. I've known about them during the SCN Live days, and then obviously they keep catching on and getting their name out there. And there's, again, a reason why. I heard that Mint Mobile offers premium wireless starting at just $15 a month, and you're like, yeah, okay, what's the catch? But after you really get to talk to them and understand them, it makes sense. There's no catch. There's no catch, literally. Mint Mobile's secret sauce is that they are the first company to sell wireless service online only. They cut out the cost of retail stores and they pass those sweet savings directly to you. So that was the thing that when I had heard about it, I had done it, and I continue to do it, and there's a reason why that it's catching on, because it's a very smart system. For anyone who hates their phone bill, Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for just $15 a month. I know it's nuts to hear it, but it's $15 a month. Mint Mobile gives you the best rate whether you're buying one for a family, and at Mint, families start at 2 lines. All plans come with unlimited talk and text and high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. You use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your phone number along with all your existing contacts. Switch to Mint Mobile and get premium wireless services starting at just $15 a month. So if you want to get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and get the plan shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/thing. That's mintmobile.com/thing. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month. mintmobile.com/thing. All right, thanks once again to Mint Mobile. As I tell you guys all of the time, if you want to support the show, you want to help yourself, we only get sponsors on this show that we think is going to benefit the audience, and it keeps the show going. So when you support when you go and you get one of these sponsors, you support the show. So check out Mint Mobile, use that code. There's a reason Mint Mobile's been in the news as much as they are. They're a great company. They're moving fast. So check them out. All right, let's move and let's talk about some of this other stuff. You know, speaking of, before we went to the sponsor, we brought up Mandalorian. The Star Wars celebration starts tomorrow. There's going to be some.
Are you feeling FOMO?
Yes and no. Yes and no.
What's the yes? What's the no?
So yes, in the fact that I've never been to London. I've always wanted to go. I love the people in London. I love the. I love the. We've had audience from that area in a long time. I just like the culture. I've wanted to go for a very long time. I love the atmosphere of Star Wars Celebration. I love the. I love like the whole thing. It's my favorite con out of all of them because I've brought this up a million times over. When you go to Comic-Con, you walk through the floor, you see something you like on the left, but not necessarily something you like on the right because it's a different genre. This is all Star Wars. So it's like if you're a Star Wars fan, it's like you just for 4 days, you're loving it. So I'm excited for that. I love the atmosphere inside of the panels and how excited people are getting in the music that they play beforehand and catching up with people, all that stuff. Yeah, the FOMO for sure. For some odd reason, they keep doing it on Easter. And I don't know why they keep doing it on Easter.
Like it's going to be on Sunday?
It starts Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday this year. So it's 4 days and they're going through Easter on Sunday. And it like, you know, that would take me away from my family and it would take me away from, you know, being with, again, my in-laws and everything too. So it's like,
You would hate being a Jew, Kristian. People do right now. It's Passover. People don't give a shit about the holidays.
Yeah,
they
but
put
it's just like
everything on them.
I know, but it's like that type of thing is like my kids like doing Easter eggs and stuff, and I don't want
You
to. I
do a
don't want.
hunt.
Yeah, I don't want to miss that stuff. Like I don't want to miss that for particularly the other main reason too, and it does sound like a sourpuss right now too. I'm out of all of the years of going to Star Wars Celebration and all this stuff too, this is the least amount of confidence I've had in Star Wars in Lucasfilm leadership like ever.
That's interesting.
That's a
big statement, Kristian.
Yeah, it's a sloppy mess over there. It has been for a bit, but I feel like it's the sloppiest now. And I don't know, like, you know, what they're going to show and what they're going to do and how, and like the excitement of, I don't feel that, I don't know. It's just like, it's not, the magic seems to be gone a little bit at times for what's happening over there. And it's so tomorrow is going to be a big thing because they're going to announce movies. You would assume it's the first panel. So let me tell you about. I'm going to give you this is the key panel times so people know for Star Wars Celebration. Starting, and there is some stuff that I am very excited about. But though Easter is a 3 or 4 day holiday weekend for many Star Wars fans from around the world, there's some dark horizons. By the way, they're heading to the UK to participate in Star Wars Celebration, which is unfolding in London this year after last year's event in California. The 22 event saw teaser trailer for Andor, second teaser trailer for Bad Batch, brief footage from Ahsoka, was never released online, obviously, and announcements regarding Mandalorian, Tales of the Jedi, Star Wars Visions, and more. This year is expected to be bigger with the first proper footage from both Ahsoka and Skeleton Crew likely to be released, and a potential preview of the last few episodes to still air of The Mandalorian Season 3. Both The Acolyte and Andor Season 2 have been in production for months, so they might show some early footage, though any such clips that they're shown are unlikely to be officially released online. Expected some major announcements about the future of Star Wars on TV and especially on film are coming as well. So when will all of this hit? Though it's a 4-day event, the biggest reveals will take place across 3 panels in the mornings of Friday and Saturday. So here's the big news. Specifically on Friday, April 7th, the Lucasfilm Studio Showcase will be the big reveal of the new Star Wars projects and first footage. It takes place on the following times on Good Friday. So 3 a.m. Oh my God, 3 a.m. in the morning. So we're going to find out when we wake up tomorrow morning. We'll know what it is.
I'll be up.
You'll be up. In the same day will come a panel for the making of the first season of Andor, which could offer more insights. And then on Good Friday, that's 7 a.m. morning. Yeah, so we're going to have to read about all the news. So then April 8th will be the Ahsoka panel. And then there's some other stuff. But the big news, what to me, I think is going to be this. It's that panel tomorrow. What's the movie? We know we got the writer Peaky Blinders now taking over from Lindelof. Director
Did you ever check that out?
No, but I hear good things.
Excellent.
Yeah, I hear good things.
Excellent.
Yeah, and then the director Chinoy from Ms. Marvel. So, the question is, what's the movie? How many movies are they doing? Some reports say 1 movie. Some reports say 3 movies.
So what to bring it back to what you just said, Kristian, though, what could restore your confidence? Like tomorrow, the big panel says XYZ. Like what could they say that will make you feel like, okay, this has got clear direction? Anything?
No, because I mean, look, if there's
like
a clear,
actions speak louder than words.
Yeah, because like you can announce until the cows come home, but it's like we've done that already. We've announced movies are going to happen. Patty Jenkins has a movie. No, she doesn't. Just kidding. Ryan Johnson has a movie. Another one. Just kidding. Not happening. Benioff and Weiss have them. Nah, they don't have a movie. Kevin Feige's going to do a movie. Nah, he doesn't. He's not doing a movie. So how long before that? I do think that this movie is going to happen. I do think that this is the closest one. I think they're going to probably announce when it goes into production. But
oh my God, if this one doesn't happen, holy shit.
I know. Well, what I think is very possible, and I think is the play, to be honest, is that I think that Kathleen Kennedy is going to set up these 3 movies. And there's going to be this movie that we're talking about now, this Taika Waititi movie, and this Sean Levy movie. Those are the 3 movies that I believe have the best chance of being announced. I think she sets up all 3 of those movies. I think that she hits a home run with Indiana Jones, and then I think she leaves Lucasfilm because even when she's gone, she's still going to have producer credits on all 3 of those movies, and she's still going to make a lot of money once they start to get put into production and they make it. Plus, hand it off to somebody else. They put these 3 into production. They have three movies that are, and that's what I believe is going to happen.
And that excites you?
I don't think excited is the right word. I think it's just the right move because I don't dislike her. I've been using this example again, blue in the face. It's like if you're a Red Sox fan and you have a manager that comes in and is not winning, even though that manager has won championships on other teams, comes in is just not winning. How long are you going to let the manager? It's just not working inside that system.
Totally.
The manager's still good. Manager's still a good manager and probably could win championships somewhere else, but it's just not in that system. It's just not working. And it clearly is not working. So it's not a matter of excitement as a matter of, it's just like, I just think we need a new coach.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, that's really all it is. But I think that the stuff that does excite me, I'm very excited to hear more about the Ahsoka stuff. I do think that I think that the Mandalorian, this past episode, even though we disagree, I think that it's served much more as an animated.
It doesn't really matter that I disagree with you on that. You're
No,
the target demo.
But the animated, it seemed like an animated episode, and I do think that Rebels, Ahsoka is essentially the new season of Rebels, which I'm okay with because if you look at the way, so they brought in Zeb from Rebels into Mandalorian last week, and I think he looked phenomenal. He looked really great. So I'm excited.
Who was that?
Zeb is one of the characters from Rebels in Mandalorian last episode. Do you know when Paul was when he
I'll look it up.
Yeah, he goes to the bar and the big alien kind of comes in.
Oh yeah. I remember people were excited about that online.
So Zeb. So anyway, so like the Ahsoka stuff is great. I'm very curious to hear. I know I happen to agree with Dark Horizons. I don't think we're going to see any of the footage from the Acolyte or Andor, but I think they're going to show it to the audience, which is something that's what I think that they should do at certain cons. Like I think sometimes Comic-Con, you don't even necessarily have to go anymore if you're covering it because they show everything and then they release everything online. I like that the audience gets exclusive stuff. And I think that that's one of the big FOMO things for me, as you asked earlier. Like the Acolyte's one of my most anticipated shows. So I'm very curious to see the tone of that and see how Leslie Headland is approaching that series.
Yeah, definitely. I so feel you. Like whenever I'm at a con, I'm like, I wish they were showing us more exclusive stuff. And when I'm not there, I'm like, can you guys just drop all this stuff?
Right. So, but yeah, I mean, that's the stuff. Tomorrow's going to be the big day. Tomorrow's going to be the big topic.
Really, you mean 3 a.m.?
Right. It's going to be, but that's going to be that's going to be the big news. That's the news is going to be, what's this movie? Where does it take place? Who's in it? When does it start shooting? That's going to be the news that takes over everything tomorrow. And
what's your coverage plan?
Well, for me, I mean, like I said, if there's footage, there won't be any footage of anything tomorrow, I don't believe. If there's footage, I'll just wind up doing like a trailer reaction or something. But I'll probably, 2 things I'm going to do is I'll probably cover, like, once they announce what the movies are and everything, so I'll do like a news piece on covering that panel and talking about the movies and my thoughts on it in general. And then the end of the day tomorrow, I'll probably do a live stream that will cover day 1 and news that's come out and those types of things. And then Saturday I have a wedding I'm going to, so probably not going to be able to cover anything. But I'll try to do, if there's like any massive news.
You gonna wear a new suit?
One of my new suits, yeah, I will.
Oh
actually.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dope.
So yeah, so that's that happens tomorrow. and talk about, by the way, talk about change in leadership. How about this whole WWE thing?
So curious your thoughts on this. So curious. And the biggest super fans I'm seeing right now, before I get your thoughts, seem to be a little torn because they're not sure what this means in terms of creative for the WWE.
Creative, it's a big miss creatively. Selling the company to Endeavor is a good move, I think.
Why are they calling it a merge? Why aren't they calling it a selling it to Endeavor?
Well, because I mean, I don't know, maybe to make makes it sound more like it's a partnership more than anything else too. But
Right.
but looking what they did in the assets that they provided to the UFC and other things, it's a good move. The problem with it is that Ari Emanuel, who owns Endeavor, obviously it said something along the lines that Vince McMahon would be in control of creative if that is indeed the case, and they have that merger, and that's a bad move. Like, look, Vince McMahon is the reason that wrestling is a global entity. There's no arguing it. There's no arguing. As much as Hulk Hogan and everyone else did, it's Vince McMahon's vision that did it. But like any other person who does this for a while, eventually you lose touch. Eventually you get older. Eventually he does not have it anymore. And it was very clear. And you look at what I was kind of tuning in and out of it. And then I started watching a little bit more once Triple H really got a hold of it. And the storytelling was more in sync. It was the championships had value again. And the night after WrestleMania, Vince McMahon apparently like scrapped a whole bunch of ideas and did something, and it was terrible. He is so out of touch. He's so out of touch, and he should go. Like, look, what does he need this money anymore? Maybe it's just all he knows, and maybe he just doesn't want to retire. But like the thing that drove me nuts about it is this: the whole point of the wrestling business is to know and listen to your audience. What they call in wrestling is when someone's over, right? When like for example, like when Andrew
put them over,
like when they're really popular, it's called that they're over with the fans.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So like when Andrew Guy was at the peak of Schmodown popularity, he was like super over with the fans. Kalinowski super over with the fans. Marisol McKee super over with the fans. Rachel Cushing, yeah. So yeah, but you know what I mean? Like all the big stars that we had, they were all
Roxy Stryer,
you had good heel heat, is right. This stuff like, but listening to the audience and knowing what they're liking, who's over, who's not over. Vince McMahon is not over with the fans anymore. His creative is not over with the fans anymore. They don't pop for him anymore.
Do you think he doesn't get that? He just doesn't believe it. He just trusts in himself. I
think it's a mixture of all of it. I think that he thinks, I've been in this spot before, and in the early 90s, they thought I didn't have it anymore, and I came back and created the Attitude Era. And
is that possible?
I just think he was in his 50s during that time. I think
now he's got new facial hair, Kristian.
Oh my God, he looks ridiculous. He looks so ridiculous.
It's like unbelievable.
Really, really bad. Like you're about to make this massive sale, and you do that. I mean, it's like, what, dude? Who you can't look in the mirror and go, yeah, that one looks good. No, it doesn't. It looks terrible. He's got children. Maybe his children are like, okay, fine. You want to take this? You want to go back to doing it? We're going to tell you that looks great.
I saw him, was just like, this is a guy who's not in touch
at all. He's so out of touch, and the wrestling product is going to suffer from it, because what he should do is listen to the fans, listen to who's over. Collect your money, Vince. Collect your money and let someone else run the creative. It's a bad move in general that he's taken over again. And I think it's going to hurt the product tremendously, unfortunately. I saw some people calling for the wrestlers to stand up and say that they are not going to wrestle for Vince, and that they're going to support Triple H. What I'd love to see, and it'll never happen,
a storyline where they do that.
No, I'd love to see Triple H leave. I'd like to see him leave and start his own thing, and then start taking some of the talent with him. I know that it's hard with contracts and stuff too, but that'll never happen in a million years. But that's how
you want to see him go to AEW, or you want to see him start his own thing?
Yeah, AEW. I don't think he'd be able to. There's too much. He's basically running the WWE. He was running it, and then Vince pulled a king move, and he sold it, and he got himself back in the chair.
This is a really stupid question, Kristian. Probably. I know that I just don't know the inner workings of this enough. Does this mean that there might be more crossover stuff with UFC and WWE? I
mean, it doesn't. It means that, you'll probably see UFC stars in the crowd and stuff, and if they want to promote like the fight, getting them involved in the way that Bad Bunny got involved over the weekend,
right?
That's possible for sure. Like if you lend it out and there's more stuff. There's always like I said, and it's not a dumb question at all, because it's like one of those things where there's a big massive fight coming up for UFC. You'll probably hear about it on the WWE card now, where you wouldn't see it as much now, but now because they're in the same company, like, oh, don't forget that tonight, you've got John Jones versus so and so. And yeah, you probably see some of that. Maybe you'll even see the crossover on UFC, where there's more promotion now for SummerSlam or something like that too. I don't think you're going to see like wrestling storylines inside of UFC and those types of things, but maybe UFC fighters coming into it. Yeah, I could see that potentially happening for sure.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah. Why not use your brands to help promote your other brands? It makes sense. I just think the biggest story for me was not the sale. It's the idea that Vince weaseled his way back into running creative when it has been shown that since he's left, the product has gotten better.
But I guess we don't know that for sure, Kristian. We don't know for sure that he's going to be running creative again, right?
Well, from what they said you already look at what he did his first night back. He like, apparently rumor was that they had this script that Triple H and a bunch of people wrote, and Vince made all these edits at the last minute, and it was significantly worse. I don't know what the particular edits were, but the show just wasn't good. It was bad. It was really bad. And usually
is that coming from like rumor has it?
Yeah. Well, some big, reputable wrestling sites that probably then wrestling sites. A lot of those backstage, like, there's people who leak information all the damn time. So
with wrestling where there's smoke, there's fire 100%.
100%. I wonder, we're never gonna get an answer from her, like, on air. But I wonder how Kathy Kelly's feeling. I know that she doesn't mind Vince, but she's a Triple H girl, so like,
I think anybody who's there was excited about Triple H.
I know, and I wonder if people are just like, fuck, especially because he's always had this old school mentality of push the big guys and push this, and like he's trying to push certain stars and other things. I don't know. I think it's a disaster. But I'll tell you what's not a disaster: Sunday Lawn Care and Athletic Greens, guys. Let me tell you about both of them right now. It's been cold here. It's been cold, but it's starting to get warm. It's right around the corner, and I like hanging out with my kids and my wife in the back and with the yard, and it's one of my favorite times in spring. And Sunday Lawn Care makes it so much easier. If you guys love spring, you got to figure out, how do I take care of my yard? Everybody's been at the store going, what do I do? How do I start? Sunday Lawn Care makes it easy. Sunday is everything that you need to get the lawn that you dreamed of. So if you go this spring, you go and head on over to getsunday.com/bigthing, and you enter your address. You get a customized plan created just for your lawn. There's no trips to the store or hauling heavy bags, since they ship straight to your home. You just need a hose to apply Sunday. That's all you need. You can fertilize your whole lawn in less time than it takes to watch an episode of your favorite TV show. Sunday is easy and affordable. Some lawn care services cost more than $1,500 a year, but Sunday's full season plan starts at just $109. Sunday is now offering our listeners 20% off. Full season plans at just $109, and you can get 20% off, but you got to use that code getsunday.com/bigthing at checkout. 20% off your custom plan at getsunday.com/bigthing. Don't be confused anymore. Don't stand at the counter and the shelves looking at everything. Just get Sunday. getsunday.com/bigthing. Athletic Greens, baby. AG1. You guys know I talk about them all of the time. For me, it's the same stuff I've been telling you. I wanted better gut health. I wanted increased energy. I wanted immune system support. I wanted all of it. I'm not a big vitamins guy. I didn't like taking all those pills and stuff. I just wanted one. You take it, I put it in a water bottle, I shake it up in the morning, and I'm good to go. It's not very easy for me to keep up with that supplement routine that comes with a bunch of different products. It's like, you got to do this, you got to do that. You just take everything in one shot. Helps me better with energy. It helps me better in general. I think it helped me to recover, to be honest with you. Why take a bunch of different things when you can just mix one scoop of powder and water once a day? It's that easy. I love it. It's just part of my daily habit now. If you're looking for an easier way to take supplements, Athletic Greens AG1 is giving you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. You got to go to athleticgreens.com/bigthing. That is athleticgreens.com/bigthing. Check it out. You guys know that I love it. You guys, I've seen so many people telling me that they've signed up and they're loving AG1. Continue to do so. Tell me after you sign up. Let me know. Use that code, athleticgreens.com/bigthing. And like I mentioned, beforehand, we have great sponsors here. We love our sponsors, and we hope that you guys love them too. You support the show. You help us out when you do it. So go and check it out. All of the links are pinned. The pinned comment here. You can go check out all of our great sponsors today. So make sure you do it. All right, let's see if there's anything else before. Oh yeah, I want to talk about this prequel series thing. So this is very interesting because the HBO Max, they're doing a prequel series to its 2-part adaptation of Stephen King's It novel, and has added 4 to its cast. Taylor Page from Zola, Jovan Adepo from Babylon, Chris Chalk from Gotham, and James Remar from Oppenheimer, great James Remar, will all star in the series that is currently going by the title Welcome to Derry. The series will reportedly unfold in the early 60s and reportedly go into the origins of Pennywise the Clown, which was somewhat explored in It Chapter 2. The first of the It films takes place around the late 88, 89 era, and Pennywise on a 27-year cycle between the reappearance, yada, yada, yada. Andy Muschietti, who directed both films, will serve as executive producer for the series alongside Barbara Muschietti and Jason Fuchs. All 3 developed the story for the show, and Fuchs writing the script, and Muschietti will direct multiple episodes of the series, including the first. Fuchs and Brad Caleb Kane will serve as showrunners, and the project was ordered to series in February. All right. So, Roxy, what do you think about this? You think this is a good move for HBO Max?
You know what? I don't know.
Okay. How come?
The second you said it, I was like, huh. I just don't know that there's the audience for this that they're thinking there might be. I really am a fan of, first of all, I'm a massive fan of television. Second of all, I watch most horror shows. There aren't that many of them, and I think for good reason.
Yeah.
But then when it comes to It, I loved both movies. So you would think I would be like, yes, on this. And I also love period pieces.
Yeah.
So I'm not writing it off. The cast is great. As you're listing the people, it's people that like have a lot of credits behind them. Even Jason Fuchs worked on Wonder Woman, which I loved. The first one. Andy Muschietti, obviously, I'm a fan of. She says, I'm trying to break out what this story could be. As you're saying, like more to the creation of Pennywise and how it happened. It's kind of like how you don't really want to know the backstory of your villains fully, usually. Like, I don't always want to know what's the origin of Joker, because usually it doesn't like live up to the hype that you've created in your head. That's why it worked so well in The Dark Knight to have, you want to know how I got these scars and all of those things. I'm conflicted. How do you feel, Kristian?
So I'm more positive than negative. The positive side is HBO Max. They make good stuff. And they really, it's not half-assed, and they put the production into it. So that's a positive. Andy Muschietti being involved in it, that's a big plus for me as well. The idea that he's going to be directing a few of the episodes, also a big plus. The cast that they announced, pretty big plus. The big negative, no Bill Skarsgård. That's a big negative.
What are they doing? We don't know.
I don't know if they're gonna recast, I guess. I mean, because whoever Pennywise is, which I think is a mistake. I think
there is a Pennywise in this.
They said it's the origins of him, so you would assume if it's the origins, you're going to see him.
Are you going to see Pennywise or the origins of Pennywise?
I guess. Yeah, I know. If you don't, I mean, you take away the clown inside of It, and that's like the whole thing.
Well, before he's Pennywise, I'm assuming he's a person, right?
Right, but I mean, why wouldn't it be Bill Skarsgård? I mean, I mean, and especially Bill Skarsgård was fantastic in John Wick 4.
Because this is the 60s, so maybe it's a kid.
No, but you saw pictures of him in the 60s in It Chapter 2, and he looked the same. Yeah, so I don't know. I think that's a big negative, but I think I will definitely be watching definitely the pilot. For sure, no doubt.
100%.
I'm a big Muschietti fan, and I think he's going to be besides Michael Keaton, he's going to be the big thing everyone is talking about with The Flash, about the reason why it's as special as it is. I think it's going to be a very special movie, and I think it's going to elevate Muschietti to a level that we haven't seen. So, I think that's kind of transitions me into something that we haven't talked about yet that has been in the news cycle for at least last week, and that's the Harry Potter series. Finally, you've been talking about this for now 4 or 5 years that Harry Potter should have a TV series. And they're not only are they going to do a TV series, they're going to redo the books, and they're going to basically recast Harry and Ron and everybody else too. And they're going to make, now it seems like potentially what, 7 or 8
seasons.
7 seasons of. So I'll tell you, well, let me hear your thoughts on this first, and I'll give you my my perspective on it.
When I said that they should do a Harry Potter series, this is not what I thought that they should do. I'll say that. It doesn't mean this is the wrong choice. It just, I guess they have decided on this that their target demo is younger, and it's for people who are like coming to Harry Potter, because to me, we just so recently just told these in 7 excellent movies that people love, and the books, and now they're taking Ron, Hermione, and Harry and all the characters, and they're going to retell the same story off those books in 7 seasons. I'm kind of shocked by their decision to do that. They must have an idea that I don't have, but to me, this is not, when I kept saying there needs to be a Harry Potter show, I did not mean this.
At first, when I heard it, I had that initial kind of thought. I'm like, well, what are you doing? You're doing basically movies that have just been made. The last one, I think, was made in like 2012 or something. And then I started thinking about it. My biggest critiques when it comes to books, movies that are made from books and games is you don't have enough time to tell a story. And I love the Harry Potter movies. I love them. I think they're fantastic films. I remember I read the first 4 Harry Potter books, and I remember after reading them saying, oh, they left out a lot. They did a great job of interpreting it, of adapting it, but they left out a lot. It would have been great to do this. And if you have 7 to 8 episodes to tell that whole book, there are parts of the story that weren't in the movie that will be in the series. And I think that explores more. I think I agree with your take that they are going for new people who will, for example, who's your Batman?
Who do you think my Batman is?
Christian Bale?
Yeah.
So Christian Bale.
Keaton?
No, Bale's mine too. I love Keaton, and Keaton is Keaton's a phenomenal Batman and iconic in the way that Christopher Reeve is to Superman, where he was really the first one, minus Adam West for what Adam West did for Batman, but just did something in that was spectacular. But Christian Bale, because those movies I loved what Nolan did with those movies. But my point is that last time Michael Keaton had played Batman was 1992. 13 years later, Christian Bale played him, right? And then 2013 was I think it was only like 3 years removed, if that. Ben Affleck.
Do you think that's the same as this?
No, but what I'm saying is that you can take iconic characters, and because the difference is, the only reason that you feel like it's not the same is because it's just been, it's the same way like Rocky, right? Like no one has ever played Rocky different, and this is a different, I know that's very different because Stallone created Rocky and everything too, and it was, but there are lots of different characters that have been retold. But the reason why I think it's different, if it was a movie, I'd be like, this is a really bad movie. We don't need to see another movie that we just did. The idea that they're going to expand the lore through television, I think it's the same thing that they're doing, obviously, with Percy Jackson, right? Now, Percy Jackson, the difference is the movies just weren't very good, and the Harry Potter movies were good. These movies weren't good, and they're doing a series so they can expand on it. They can actually bring a more true adaptation to it. And I think that's what they're going for with Harry Potter. And I think it's also the other reason, Roxy, I think it's a big move for them. I think they were going to do like this cursed child thing and try to get, they couldn't get the original cast back to do anything. They can't get.
That's the thing. Obviously that's option one, right? Yeah. Like if you are HBO Max if you are the production company working on this and they say to you, you have free reigns to do anything you want. What do you want to do? You're going to be able to do a Harry Potter series.
Yeah.
Your first calls to the big 3, right? Because if you can get them, you get them. to see what they can do, whether it's post or alternate, whatever. Clearly that didn't work. So you're left with different options, which is going with one of them, which the magic of them is when they're together.
Right.
So I don't think that this is a trash idea. I don't think it is.
It's just it's an outside the box, but it's again going to the same thing we talked about with the It series. It's HBO Max. You know they're going to put the budget into it, and it's going to deliver. You know it'll deliver for sure, and we'll all be curious to see what the adaptation is and how it plays. And a lot of people, by the way, feel that first movie, the first two, I like the first two directed by Chris Columbus, but they feel that it's more of a Chris Columbus movie and more towards the child kind of movies more so than anything else too. And maybe it's a more true adaptation to the books, the first two, also as it starts to develop. So I think it's an interesting idea. But my point with the cast is you sign them all to because that's instead of the Harry Potter movie cast, which I think started in 2000, ended 13 years later or whatever. This is going to be TV. So they're going to film. You're going to sign these people up to like 7 to 10 year contracts. And then if you get them for Cursed Child afterwards or other movies afterwards, you have a brand new cast now that you can lock in to deals that you wouldn't be able to put this older cast, in. You know what I mean?
Definitely. But I do wish that the three of them wanted to lock in.
Yeah.
And like for 3 years, we wouldn't have needed a 7-year contract with them, right? Like I wish. I know from the day that Daniel Radcliffe stopped doing Harry Potter, he had that big, like, I'm no longer Harry Potter.
Right.
He talked about it in every interview, right? Yeah. He went and did Equus on Broadway. Like he has tried to do all of the, whatever the fuck that movie with, he's dragging around the dead person.
Oh, right. Yeah. The Swiss Army Man.
Yeah, Swiss Army Man. Every move he could make to try to show us I am not Harry Potter. Right. He became a DJ. He was, or did something.
Weird Al. He just did the Weird Al movie.
Yeah. Yes, the Weird Al movie. Wait, Elijah Wood became a DJ, but maybe Daniel Radcliffe did too. Whatever. He tried to do everything, and still, we all think of him as Harry Potter. There's nothing he's been able to do. No. We've all thought of him that way. Yeah. So I get why he wouldn't want to sign back on when he's worked so hard to be like, this isn't just me.
He doesn't need to. He doesn't need to yet. He doesn't want to yet. He's not in dire straits as far as that stuff goes, and he doesn't. But I think that if you're Warner Brothers, this is why I think it's a business-wise, it's a very smart move. It's that you're not locked in. You can retell these stories because the benefit is if the audience, which I believe that they will, the younger audience, other audiences, they'll rediscover it. You'll get the books back out there again. The sales on those books will go back up again. The the idea of certain things for the hardcore Harry Potter heads who are always wondering what certain things in the book that they left out would look like now, that will be in there. That will bring the audience in. This is a very smart move. It really is. It might not be the move that we thought that it would be, but it's a very smart business move because if it hits that seven seasons that you're already locked into, and you're going to make brand new stars, you're going to have all these things, and then maybe you can then transition into another movie like afterwards, because if, regardless of your thoughts on J.K. Rowling, if they said to J.K. Rowling, okay, listen, so this series is our biggest series of all time. So now these kids are only 7 years into it. Let's say we hire the first kid when he's like 8 years old, so he looks 10, whatever, or whatever around that time. I forget how. I think he's like 9 or 10. I think he's 10 going into his 11th birthday when he starts. You hire him when he's 10, and then when the series is over, you're looking at an 18, 19-year-old kid. Well, what if during season 3, season 4, J.K. Rowling starts writing a new adventure when they're 20 years old, and you have enough time in that time to have.
There is no way. There's no, regardless of how you feel about her anymore. There's no way the franchise doesn't want to touch her with a 10.
They're making these.
Yeah, because it already exists. There's no way they're hiring her to do more. They don't want anything to do with her. She's a PR nightmare for them.
I'm telling you that if they had an opportunity to write, let's say it's not J.K. Rowling, and let's say it's somebody else who writes
then it. Definitely. Yes.
My point is that you can have, if the series is as popular as we think it will be, the difference when you do these movies with Daniel Radcliffe and they're getting older all the time, and then you have all this material, and it's not in it's again from 2000 until 2013 or whatever it was, and then everybody's tapped out, and that's it. 7 seasons of TV, as you know, you can pump them out every year. By the time you get to like season 3, season 4, and you write a new adventure, and then you can end it with a movie. I'm just saying it's possible now.
Yeah, I hear you. I think that they are really looking out for the long term on this one.
Yeah. So anyway,
they had to do something.
Big moves for HBO Max. Big moves in general, playing off of their IP. It's a good move. But speaking of television, Roxy, you got some picks. It's TV time. What do you got?
Yeah, and you haven't heard me talk about TV in weeks, Kristian. So how excited are you? The first one I mentioned last week, but I think I'm probably going to have to mention this every single week because I cannot help it. It is the best written show on television, and you didn't get to hear me talk about it. I don't even think you watch it, Kristian. Succession?
I was going to, and it was one of the things that I was doing my binges while I was sick. Succession was one of the ones I just didn't.
I don't want to hear you excuses anymore, Kristian.
I know. I just don't think that I could invest in mentally.
When you're not well, it's not a good time to watch it.
That's why I didn't choose it, because I just think mentally I couldn't have invested. I think it was a big investment.
This show is so good. We've had 2 episodes this season so far. It's the final season. You should catch up by the end. Holy crap. It is like, when you are watching it, the way that they write the dialogue on this, you're like, how did you guys do this?
Right.
How did you do this? Like, they know their characters so well. It is such an intimidating show to watch because it makes you think about the rich in this country in a way.
Right.
It's amazing. The show is amazing. The family dynamic is amazing. It is the funniest show that is a drama because just like the characters are egregious.
Right.
But they're realistic, and it's so good. This is, to me, if you call yourself a television fan, you can't not like this show. If you watch it, like I see a few people, I'll put out Instagram posts or whatever, and I'll talk about Succession. And always out of the thousands of people who are commenting or writing about it, there's always like 5 that are like, I don't like this show. And I'm like, then you didn't watch it. I don't believe you could watch the show and not like it. I don't believe it. Like,
right.
If you watched a half of one episode, but if you actually watch the show, I just can't fathom you not liking it. I can't. It's so good. It's
Fair
so
enough.
good.
All right, what's next?
Next on this list is a show that I feel like you would have brought to me, but you didn't, and so I'm curious what your thoughts on History of the World are.
I didn't. I mean, the movie itself, I love. I love Mel Brooks. He's 90. He's 90 some odd years old, and he's still out there doing stuff. And God bless him for it. I could be wrong. I haven't watched it, but I just feel like it. From what I saw in the trailers, it looked corny.
So good.
Is it? Is it funny?
So good. Yeah. So History of the World Part 2, like Kristian just said, this is a Mel Brooks thing based on History of the World. I kept hearing great things about it, and I was like, really? Yeah, it's really funny.
Okay.
I mean, I think that it's not like every moment of every episode is perfect, but in general, the cast is insane, and the storylines are. I mean, it just does a really good job with it.
How many episodes?
8.
Okay.
And he narrates, and like you said, this man, I think he's like 96, 97.
Something like that.
He is up there, and he's still with it totally. Ike Barinholtz, Nick Kroll, Wanda Sykes, Jay Ellis, JB Smoove, Pamela Adlon, who I'm completely obsessed with, Zazie Beetz, Ronnie Chang, Dove Cameron, Richard Kind, Tyler James Williams. This cast is like Johnny Knoxville, Jack Black. Just every comedian wanted to be a part of this because of who's involved, and it's Jason Alexander. It's so great to watch all of them on screen together. I think you'll like it.
Okay, yeah, I mean that's one I'm curious about. I love Mel Brooks. I'm surprising to hear you say it, because it just looked. I mean, I could be wrong, judging obviously.
I definitely fucks with this. Mandalorian, we already discussed a little bit. I haven't been talking about this every week because I know that Kristian talks about it a lot on this show. I am watching it. I do really like it. Last episode, I really liked. And then this episode, the Lizzo, Jack Black, Christopher Lloyd one, I loved it. I don't know whether it is because I'm such a diehard Lizzo fan, but I felt like she completely embodied this like queen energy. I did. I loved her chemistry with Jack Black. I loved that, like, this episode was so clear what they were trying to do. And more so than that, I'm obsessed with Bo-Katan.
Yeah.
Like, and the storyline they're doing with her and is it called Darksaber, Blacksaber? Darksaber. Man, I think that is so cool. And like that moment at the end between the two of them, it just, when she's like, it doesn't work like that. And he's like, I'm not doing you any favors or whatever.
Yeah, but here's my issue with that. You know my issue with that big. He knew that for a while, right?
Maybe it just dawned on him.
Then he's an idiot.
Okay, but maybe it just dawned on him.
He just came up with it. He just came up with it in the moment.
Maybe he's a little spacey.
I mean, he let her kick that guy's ass, and he let her get into all his fights. And he goes, listen, it's yours anyway. I just wanted to see you fight.
Maybe.
But I do like the idea of what they're going for with the Mandalorian thing. It's just for 20 minutes they did a bad cop, good cop. Let's figure out what's going on with the droids thing, and then I thought Lizzo and Jack Black were extremely jarring in those roles, and Christopher Lloyd was fine, but still, I think it's funny because I had somebody write me a comment going, "Oh, why have you been so critical on this season?" I'm like, "You haven't been watching my reviews because I've gotten from other people going, oh, you just like this season because Katie's on it." And so it's like you can't win. But like I've actually really enjoyed the season for the majority of it. I think that they have struggled with really telling what the story has been. There's been more times than not where they're just giving you kind of big moments than focusing on the actual story.
I hear you. I just liked this episode.
That's fair.
Like, yeah, I hear you.
You had fun.
Yeah. And my diehard Star Wars fans are not liking this season as much.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I'm liking it. I've never not liked Mandalorian, though.
Yeah, I love the Mandalorian. I just think that, like I said, I think that my biggest thing, and I covered this on Sith, and I covered it on my live stream. My biggest thing was that I think that I wish that they would have focused more on what they did at the end. Was it focusing more on getting those Mandalorians back in sync with Bo and spending more time developing it and really diving deep into the characters? And they just had this kind of side adventure throwaway thing that I guess like some casual fans really, really liked it. I think that their intent, it seemed, and this is what I think that they tried to do. Their intent was to bring Lizzo fans in who love her, and clearly with you, that's what happened. My concern with that is that you lose a lot of people like myself.
Do you think that was their intent? Because
yeah, why else do you put Lizzo in there? She's not a good actress, Roxy. She's just not.
Oh, well, I'm wondering what you think their intent is, though. You think Lizzo fans are going to watch this one episode and then like The Mandalorian?
That's what they're hoping. But it's like that's the age-old thing. You bring in somebody who's got a massive audience. And
yeah, when you see a Venn diagram, like on She-Hulk with Meg Thee Stallion, I could see that logic.
Again, it's you're bringing in a new audience to see it in a way that you wouldn't have because she's a massive, massive star. But like, I think, and not just her. I think that Jack Black, who I love, I just saw Jack Black. I didn't see a king. I didn't believe that they were in love at all.
I kind of want them to date now.
Hilarious. So well, good. I'm glad you dug it. What's next on the list?
More than dug it. Super obsessed. Next on my list is a show that I talked to you about for season 1. Didn't know there was going to be a season 2. There is, and it's out, or at least a couple of the episodes are out now. Schmigadoon.
Mm-hmm.
Remember me telling you about this show?
Yeah, I watched the beginning of it with Sadie. She bailed on it and never went back to it.
Bummer. That's such a bummer because this show is hysterical. Schmigadoon is an Apple TV Plus show. Maybe they want to send me a new remote for talking about this.
Perfect.
Who's to say? It's Keegan-Michael Key and Cecily Strong, and then it's also so many other comedians. It's like a song and dance show where those two are a couple. They end up getting stuck in a musical. The first season is Schmigadoon, and it's all like bright and sunshine and rainbows. This season, they're stuck in Chicago. which is like a Chicago, very noir, dark, twisted. And they had tried to go back on purpose because they want to like rekindle that spark. And now they're stuck in like a very dark, twisted time. I love this show. I think that they have just done such an excellent job of making this work.
Right.
Because I was like, there could never be a second season of this, but going to a different musical place has made it just so great so far. I can't recommend this show enough. Yeah, 2 episodes so far, and then it's going to go weekly. This is such a yes for me. I'm obsessed.
Okay, so Schmigadoon season 2, and that's on Apple. And then
I have one more show for you, Kristian, and it's bizarre that this is making my list, but it is making my list. Okay. Riverdale is back for its final season. It had its premiere episode of its final season.
How many seasons?
7.
Okay.
In its 7 years, I don't think you've ever heard me once talk about this show. This has definitely been a guilty pleasure of mine for a really long time. And last season, boy, oh boy, did it jump the shark.
Yeah.
It was like all of a sudden they gave all of their characters powers. Like all out of nowhere, they were like, oh, you are actually now a witch.
Oh.
And you cast spells and you do this. I was a huge Betty and Veronica comic book reader growing up. I always loved Archie comics. And so I have a soft spot for this show.
Sure.
This premiere episode did something kind of shocking to me, where they somehow, because of all the powers from last season, they jumped back to the 1950s, and they did an entire episode about Emmett Till.
Okay.
And it was like, I was shocked because Riverdale has never tried to do anything like this.
Right.
In a less powerful version, it kind of reminded me of that episode of the Tulsa riots, the Watchmen episode.
Oh, right.
Where people were like, whoa, like this is new to me. Obviously, I know about Emmett Till, but I was like, I see what they're trying to do here with their younger audience who does not know this story. And I really did. It was very moving the way that they did cover it. And I thought it was really powerful. And I was like, okay, for its final season, it does feel like Riverdale has a point of view. And I'm excited for this final season to see how they are trying to impact their audience. It was the best episode I've seen of Riverdale in years.
Wow. Okay.
So it was definitely like, okay, they are really making an effort to not do what they did last season, which would be like, whew, it was tough to get through. So
trying to go with the superhero.
Yeah. Out of nowhere, because they've always that's never been the show. And then and they do have a really strong hold on that young audience. You know, it's Riverdale. Like that's kind of like when I was coming up, that was like the OC or One Tree Hill, where the things they say, they affect you as a kid. So I was impressed with this episode.
All right. So look at that. A lot of great picks here from Roxy once again. You got a bunch of different picks. You got History of the World, you got Succession, Mandalorian, Schmigadoon, and of course, Riverdale from Rox. All right. I think that's the majority of the show. You want any updates you want to give us on dating or no? Not today.
There are none. No,
there are none.
Nothing
Still
good.
Nothing?
Still nothing.
All right. Well, we'll be back in studio, all of us. So Roxy, before we go, let the good kids know where they can find you.
Everywhere at Roxy Stryer.
That's it. See, simple.
Yeah.
I like it. And then once again, guys, if you have not, please head on over to thekristianharloff.com. Get those tickets, man.
What's up with you guys?
Do
you see this lineup? Look at all the people.
I'm telling you, we got it. This is if you're able to be there, get there, because this could be the last one that we do in LA. Maybe we've got 3 shows right now set up. It's this one. And then East Coast people are the ones I'm going to give the most shit to, because they're the ones that come to New York. You know what? I'm going to start in New York. And June 23rd, thekristianharloff.com. You get tickets now. Help us get sold out. And then June 24th, look at that lineup. The guys from Double Toasted, Martin and Corey, and then myself and Ellis back together again. But you got to get those tickets, man. So get tickets at thekristianharloff.com. All right. For myself and Roxy Stryer, thank you guys for joining us here today on The Big Thing. We appreciate you. Leave those comments. Check out our sponsors. And we'll see you next week.